Picture the scene. It's 1968 Memphis, and you're sitting at a table in your favourite kind of joint. The kind where activists and allies could strategize next moves over a plate of delicious food. As always, the place is a buzz of political discussion. The smell of soul food fills the air, and you've not long been seated before a string of Southern classics make their way over to you. Hey, it's Kaz with another episode of Kaz Cooks History, and today we're cooking up Martin Luther King Jr.'s fried chicken with macaroni cheese and collard greens. This is the food that King grew up on in Atlanta, and the food that he continued to enjoy as he travelled for the civil rights movement. At family tables, in church communities, and in restaurants that fed the organisers during the movement. But that's enough of the context. It's time for some cooking. Let's step into his shoes through food. I'll be using a whole chicken today, so some background as I process it. One of the earliest printed American recipes for fried chicken is from Mary Randolph in the Virginia Housewife, 1824, chicken flavoured and fried in boiling lard, the blueprint for what we now call Southern fried chicken. But the story doesn't start with a cookbook. As the Smithsonian puts it, the murky origins stretch back much further, and we owe a debt to the enslaved kitchen workers who refined the dish, the fusion of techniques associated with West African cooking and perhaps Scottish settlers, who preferred frying meat rather than boiling or baking it. And then there's the reason it becomes so Southern. It travels. During the Jim Crow era, black families often relied on shoebox lunches while travelling, packed meals to avoid unsafe or segregated dining options. And fried chicken shows up again and again because it holds up well and doesn't need much to serve. In Atlanta, Paschal's was founded in 1947 by brothers James and Robert Paschal with fried chicken as a speciality, and it later became a documented civil rights meeting place where leaders including Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. gathered to eat and talk strategy. Okay, let's get back to the kitchen and make a quick spice mix. You'll need 2 tablespoons each of paprika and freshly ground black pepper, 2 teaspoons each of dried oregano and garlic powder, and half a teaspoon of cayenne pepper. There are many herbs and spices that can work here, some overkill it with as many as 12. Combine the dry dredging ingredients first, so 1.5 cups of flour, half a cup of cornstarch, 1 teaspoon of baking powder, 2 teaspoons of salt, and all but 2 tablespoons of the spice mix, which we'll reserve. For the brine, we want 1 cup of buttermilk, 1 large egg, 1 tablespoon of salt, the 2 reserved tablespoons of the spice mix, and some of the dry dredging mix. We want to use that to thicken this brine mixture so it becomes almost a batter and adheres better to the chicken. Then add all the chicken pieces, mix well, cover, and refrigerate overnight. Okay, on to the sides. I struggled to find collard greens in the UK, so I'm using something called spring greens, which apparently is a suitable substitute. We want to wash these, take the stems out, and finely chop. Traditional collard greens are made with smoked ham hock, but I'm using smoked gammon as again I couldn't get smoked ham hock in time, and it's very similar minus the bone part. Fry up 1 chopped onion in 1 tablespoon of lard, then go in with the meat, cover with some chicken stock, and slow cook for about an hour. Then add the greens and cook for a further hour or until done. We want the greens to be soft but not mushy. Now onto the mac and cheese. I'll be providing some instructions on the screen as I dig into its origins. Mac and cheese feels very American, but the idea is actually way older than America. In medieval Europe, you already see pasta laid with cheese and butter in the form of curry, compiled around 1390 by the cooks of King Richard II, and in the Italian Liber de Coquina, generally dated around the 1300s. So it didn't start in the United States, but it gets an early American spotlight through James Hemings, the enslaved chef in Thomas Jefferson's household. Hemings trained as a cook in France in the 1780s and he's often credited with helping bring macaroni dishes back into Jefferson's kitchen. And we know this dish was on the political table too. In 1802, Jefferson served a pie called macaroni at a state dinner. One guest who recorded the menu, Reverend Manasseh Cutler, really wasn't impressed. Then it starts showing up in print and moving into everyday homes. And you'll recognise the title because it's the same one I mentioned earlier. Mary Randolph publishes a baked macaroni and cheese style dish in the Virginia Housewife in 1824. And then the South takes it and makes it its own. Baked in big trays, built for gatherings and treated like a serious point of pride, which is why it sits where it belongs today, next to fried chicken and greens on the kind of plate you'd see across the Civil Rights era South, including around Martin Luther King. Alright, with the sides cooking away, it's finally time to fry up some chicken. Add a bit of that brine mixture into the dry mix to create these sort of crumbs, which will crisp up and taste amazing. Coat all the pieces and throw them into a paper bag. Tip in the remainder of the mix and give it a good shaker. Heat up some fat to fry your chicken in. I'll be using vegetable oil as it's the most convenient for me, but if you want to stay true to old school southern technique, then go for lard. People do seem to get really up in arms about veggie oil usage in these videos, but who cares? And fry away. Gently place the pieces one by one into the frying pan, making sure to go away from yourself. I'll be doing this in 2 batches as my pan isn't that big. At this point, you want the temperature of the oil to stay around 150 degrees Celsius to ensure the chicken gets cooked through whilst not burning on the outside. And cook the chicken until it reaches around 75 degrees Celsius at the thickest part. And it's time to serve, and I am buzzing to dig in. This plate looks incredible, even if it is slightly screaming cardiac arrest, but oh well, we all got to go somehow. Might as well be with a mouthful of grease. Okay, that's going down a treat. Chicken skin is still incredibly crispy and flavorful. The meat is still juicy. Pure perfection. Mac and cheese is just beautifully creamy and indulgent. Yum. I've never had coloured greens, but I'm really liking the flavour. It almost reminds me of the sort of dishes you get in Poland. Very cabbagey, which I'm a fan of. And a very good palate cleanser for all this grease. Okay, that was incredible, but I need to go and have a lie down. See ya. If you want to recreate any of the recipes seen in these videos, head over to my website, link in the description. Like and subscribe.